All right, so this circle lesson is just kind of a mini lesson for lab's sake. First, let's review the vertex form real quick. The vertex form of a parabola was y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k, where that h and k were numbers, and they represented the vertex, right? So in this example, 3 and 5 represents the vertex of that parabola. Very similar with circles. The formula for circles is this one, x minus h in parentheses squared plus y minus k in parentheses squared equals r squared, where that hk represents the center of the circle and the r is the radius. So in this example, the h and the k, the h would be 2, the k would be, and you don't have this, I'm just kind of introducing the topic. I'll give you notes in just a moment. H is 2, k is 1, which means the center of your circle, 2, 1. If the r squared equals 9, what would r be? The r would be 3, right? So as a picture, and this is going to be a rough one, the center of the circle would be at 2, 1, right there. And the radius of the circle would be 3 units away from that center. So I'm going to count to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. Put a big circle or put a big dot. Up 3. 1, 2, 3. Left 3. 1, 2, 3. And down 3. 1, 2, 3. This is going to be ugly, but that's the equation of this circle. Oh, that was awful. Mine on the board last period was much better, I'll have to say. That one's, you're going to have to graph a few of these. It's okay. The human element will come in. I get it. Okay, that's a circle though. All right, but this equation's the algebra version. This picture with the circle, that's the geometry version. You dealt a lot more with the circle and it wasn't on an XY coordinate plane, right? Okay, this is kind of bridging that gap. All right, now I'm going to show you the 2 questions that were on that strategies game. And we're going to use what we just learned, which we didn't learn a whole lot about it yet. I mean, we barely touched it, but let's see if we can use it already. Do those 2 questions from the strategies game. They are right here. You've got the strategy sheet with you, right? It's referencing numbers 9, 2, 3, A, B, and C. All right, I'm going really fast, okay? But 9 just says, here's the formula, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. 2, what does 2 say? 2 says, remember it's multiple choice, so we'll use that in a second. 3A and B is simple. If there's not a picture, draw one. It's not labeled, label it. And then 6 is something that we'll talk about that deals with the distance formula. All right, so here we go. Here's our picture of this circle. Center 0, 0 passes through 3, 4. There's the center, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the edge. So again, I will attempt to draw a circle that has that radius. Good enough. What do you know already about the center of the circle and the equation that it will become? That h is 0 and k is 0, so what would that look like? Would they write x minus 0 in parentheses? Would it say, no, it wouldn't say x minus 0, it would just say x squared plus y squared. So rule number 2, remember it's multiple choice. Which answers can it not be now? Not A, not B, not C. It's at least a 50-50 guess now, just from knowing that little piece of the formula. All right, now here's where the distance kicks in. How far is it from 0, 0 to 3, 4? If you remember the distance formula, it's the square root of x1 or x2 minus x1 parentheses squared plus y2 minus y1 parentheses squared. Mouthful. Or you look at number 6 on that strategy sheet, number 6, and it says simply use the Pythagorean theorem. If you have to find a distance, use the Pythagorean theorem. Now, the Pythagorean theorem is number 5. So if you look above number 5, you need a right triangle. How do I make a right triangle with this picture? Exactly. Go straight down to the y-axis or x-axis and make a right triangle. Now label the sides of the triangle. This side is 3 units long. This side going straight up is 4 units long. And if you really remember geometry, that's a special right triangle. 3, 4, 5, the hypotenuse is 5. If you don't remember that, the r squared, the hypotenuse squared, equals 3 squared plus 4 squared, which is 9 plus 16. So r squared is 25, meaning r is 5. So finish it off. What goes on the right side of the circle equation, r or r squared? R squared goes on this side, so the answer is E. All right, one more, and then it's on you. One more, and then it's on number 9. Question number 9. It says strategy 9. I'm going to add 3AB. Start with strategy 9. X squared plus y squared equals 16. That's a circle. What's the center of that circle? Yeah, 0, 0. 0, 0. H is 0, K is 0. So rule 3AB, draw a picture. You could probably do this in your head. If you're answering some of these in your head, you're looking at a picture in your head anyway. I'm just going to put it on paper. All right, there's the center. And if the r squared is 16, what's the radius r? 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is really rough, but it doesn't matter. The point is, man, I've got to work on that. That's the circle that it's describing. If you rotate it around the y-axis, so if you spin it around the y-axis, what's that shape going to be? It's going to be the shape of a basketball. Agree? It's going to be a sphere. So it's not D, not E. Which one is it? What's the radius of that basketball? The radius is 4, right, from here to here. So, let's see. The radius squared is 16. All right, so I'm going to pause the video. Whoops, sorry. I'm going to pause the video, go back to the circle notes, and this is what I'm going to give you and let you use what I just kind of taught. These are really the notes, all right? But I'm going to see if you can't do them without my help. If you need help, I'll fill in the, what you can't do or have trouble with. But the formula's up here at the top, and there's the first 4 questions, and I'll, again, pause that video for everyone to try those. One other little disclaimer, every question you can start like this. Whoops. X minus some number squared plus y minus some number squared equals some number squared. Your question is simple. What's H? What's K? What's R? Now, finding those numbers can be difficult, but that is the question for every one of these. Write them in, write an equation, find the H, find the K, find the R. All right, so let's check these real quick. The center is 2, 3, so that's your H, that's your K. So 2 goes in this box, 3 goes in this box. The radius is R, so R is 5. 5 goes in that box. Now, you can take 5 squared and change it to a number, and they will. So the final answer is going to look like this. X minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 25. In number 2, the H is 0, and so is the K. So you're going to have zeros in those first 2 boxes in that template. And your radius is going to be equal to 3. So there's a few things you can do to simplify this expression. They're not going to put x minus 0. So that's going to say x squared. They're not going to put y minus 0, so plus y squared. And then on the right side, the square root of 3 squared, the square root of 3 squared is going to become 3. The square root of 3 squared will be 3. Making sense so far? The next ones are when you start to have to use some old geometry stuff, some digging, like what's diameter, distance formula. There's some little things that change in the next few. What's tangent? Okay? So I'm going to pause the video again, but try them. See what you can come up with. Remember, rule number 1, no picture, draw one. Rule number 2, it's not labeled, label it. And see what happens. But you still need to answer this question, x minus what squared plus y minus what squared equals what squared. That's all you're after. What's h, what's k, and what's r? All right, so let's take a look at number 3. Picture. Now, picture would have an endpoint at 12, 0 and negative 12, 0. You don't have to be real specific with this. That's x equals negative 12, and that's x equals positive 12, and the rest of your circle is somewhere out there. So what's your HK? What's the center? Yeah, 0, 0. The center of your circle is 0, 0. And what's the radius? This is a geometry concept. But the radius is from there to there, from the center to the edge. So how long is that radius? Yeah, 12. All right, so put it all together. The equation would be x squared plus y squared equals what? 144. Perfect. Perfect. Number 4, draw your picture. Center is 5, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up 1. There's the center. Tangent to the x-axis. Do you remember what that word means in geometry, tangent? Okay, yeah. You're in the trigonometry thought process. So yeah, it is opposite over adjacent, but that's in trigonometry. There were lines that were tangent to circles, and it just touched it in one spot. Do you remember that version of tangent? Okay, that's the one it's talking about here. Your circle touches the x-axis right there, which means you know where the rest of that circle is, right? It goes around the center like that. So what is your equation? X minus blank squared, y minus blank squared equals blank squared. We know the center, it's 5, 1. We already knew that. What's the radius? How long is it from the center to the edge of the circle? 1. So your radius, 1, gets squared. And the final answer, the equation of that circle is x minus 5 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 1. All right, 2 more. I'll pause the video, try them. This one, number 5, will require either the distance formula or the thing we just talked about that will substitute the distance formula, Pythagorean theorem. All right, so for starters, we know that the center is 6, negative 3, so x minus 6 squared. So I'm going to model how I have been doing this all along. We're not too far into this yet, so I'm going to model it the way we've been doing it. 6 goes there, negative 3 goes there. So already we know this much of the formula. X minus 6 squared plus, what's that going to look like when it says y minus negative 3? Y plus 3 squared. So the question really comes down to what's the radius. And this time we can't count. We can't count from the center up to this point because we'd be guessing. They didn't tell us what that point is, so we can't assume we know what it is. All we can know for sure is that from the center to the point they labeled 3, 1, that represents the radius. So that's the distance formula, distance between those 2 points, or it's what the strategy sheet says, make that a right triangle, and you don't have to memorize the distance formula. If you make a right triangle out of this, straight down, straight over, I'll bring this triangle out to the side. How long are those sides? How long is the bottom side of that triangle? From x value 3 to x value 6. 3. How tall is that triangle? From y value negative 3 to y value positive 1. How far up would that be? 4. 3 to get back to the x-axis, then another 1 to go up to 1. So it would actually be 4. So there's that nice special triangle again. 3, 4, and the radius would then be 5. The hypotenuse, would be 5. Thus, the radius equals 5. Put that into the formula. 5 squared, 25. That's the equation. of that circle. All right, last one. Center is 2, 3. So x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals blank squared. Really, the only thing this problem is asking you to find is r. All right, so tangent to x equals 6. If you can visualize this, you can answer this question. You know what the r is. If you can't visualize it, a picture will help. So here's a picture with the center 2, 3. And 3, 4, 5, 6. How do you graph x equals 6? Think back to Unit 2, graphing lines. How do you graph x equals 6? It's the vertical one. X equals 6 is the vertical line. So I'll grab the line tool. It's a vertical line at x equals 6. Tangent means it will touch and turn right there. So the rest of the circle, out there somewhere. But that gives us enough to know the radius will be from the center to that edge. So how long is that? From x value 2 to x value 6. You got it. R is 4. The radius is 4. So finish it off. The final answer, x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 16. All right, so homework's listed at the bottom there, and that is in the green book. Okay, so I'll stop the video there.